Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you the final video in my 2025 collection tour, where I go through every single colouring book that I have in my collection, as well as every page I have ever coloured or any whips and progresses I may have. So massive series. And in true tradition, we end with Colouring Heaven. We start with Chibi, we end with Colouring Heaven, because these are my two biggest collections, so it's a good way to sort of start and end the series. So yes, the last video. I warn you now, as I drop things on the floor, this is gonna be a long video, because this is not all my Colouring Heaven. I have 4 piles around me of Colouring Heaven. They're in no particular order. I could not be bothered trying to even number order them. They're just going to come out as they come out. So I really recommend you have a drink on hand, because we're going to be here for a while. So I have my drink here ready to go, and we're going to get into this. In the past, this video has been like 1.5 to 2 hours long, and I have a lot more pages coloured in Colouring Heaven since then. So yeah, we'll see. So yeah, this is just a small selection. We have a lot more to go in. And I'm actually going to move that selection to the side first and start with, oh, if I can get them without dropping, this selection here, which is oh so exciting. It's a bunch of clear files. These are my PDF colouring books, and these are my PDF Colouring Heaven issues. So I do have a couple that I have brought digitally. I used to be able to get Colouring Heaven magazines from a local supply shop, a little magazine shop that has unfortunately now closed down. The people owning it decided to retire after one of them unfortunately broke their leg really badly, but they were nearing that age where they were contemplating shutting it down. They hadn't been able to sell it, so yeah, so I lost the ability to just pick up a Colouring Heaven locally. I did contemplate getting the subscription, but I decided it would be better to buy the select issues that I liked, and a lot of them are available digitally, which they aren't too bad. So every once in a while I'll pick up an issue that I like the look of, but I no longer get every single issue like I used to. So this issue here is the Little Mermaid Special with designs by Fabiana Tridi. And I have done this page here. So this one uses Derwent Inktense that I had to sharpen a pencil, and I kept the shavings, and I used that to do a whole layer across the whole page. And I was really trying to play with that. You know, when you look at a pool or water reflex and there's all those different light tones and splotchiness from like the water rippling down. So I was trying to play with that over the background elements. You can see it quite specifically in this pole here. That's where it's kind of the most obvious. So I did a layer of that first, just one Derwent Inktense colour. And then I grabbed some polychromos pencils and did a little bit of shading on top of everything. And then I used Posca pens and metallic gel pens to do all the highlighting, some Kaisercraft shimmer spray to create all these bubbles and textures, and I did get some little 3D stickers to put on the actual Merm herself to just give her jewellery some dimension. And yeah, I like the sort of depth that I managed to create. To me, it does read that we're in a very deep ocean. So I'm pretty pleased with that one. So that is the Little Mermaid Special by Fabiana Tridi. Okay, this one is the Angel and Demon Special by Jash Lee. And I have done this page here. And this one, there was little elements of how this granny angel was presented that reminded me of my maternal grandmother. Not so much like the nose, but the shape of the face otherwise kind of reminded me a bit of her, and the pearls with this style dress. Like, she loved to wear teal, and I was like, as soon as I saw it in teal, I was like, oh my god, it could be Manina. Um, the glasses aren't quite right, but you know, it's not 100%, but it was reminiscent enough, and it was the first thought I had, and once I saw it, I could not see past it, so I coloured it very inspired by my grandmother, um, and in particular the gold pearls and teal dress that I really remember her in. So this has been based in alcohol markers, and there is, no, there was polychromos for shading. Did I use Inktense? Don't think I did. I think I was colouring this with a friend of mine. I think she used Inktense. And then there is Prismacolor, not Prismacolor, Posca. This is a good start when I'm already getting my media mixed up this badly. There is Posca for all the highlights, a little bit of metallic gold for in the pearls, and then Stickles for all the little cloud areas. Yeah, I really like that contrast of the purple and the yellow and the teal. I feel like it's a really cool combo. So that is the Angel and Demon Special by Jash Lee. I have the Woodland Fantasy Special. This is by Adele Lorraine. This is a very old issue. This is one of the earlier issues, but is available digitally. And I have done this one here. And as soon as I saw this one, I knew I wanted to colour it. I quite like this androgynous fae creature. I just was really captured with how they were presented. Now, I started this on a night where my hands were grey, and so I started with like the shading on the sword and started with the blend of the feathers, and it was going great. The next night I wanted to work on this, however, and my hands weren't as cooperative, and that's where some of this patchy moss kind of came in. However, it kind of works because it's moss, but yeah, because I just used polychromos pencils and no basing medium, there was a lot more effort that went into trying to complete this page than needed to be if I had simply based it first, which is why I tend to base all my pages with alcohol markers or Inktense or any sort of medium to just cover up the tooth of the page so that I can do less work with the pencils, particularly if my hands are bad. But I still like how it turned out, though I did realise I never did the little gems of the headdress up here. Maybe one day I'll go with gold pen and fix it up. That is the Woodland Fantasy Special by Adele Lorraine. And then I have the Chibi Tarot Special by Jash Lee. Again, I really adore Jash Lee's work. It's super, super cute. And I have done the Empress here. Actually, that's not bad. I don't need to pull that one out. So this one does use water-based markers to colour in the page, as well as a gold metallic paint pen to do the border and the jewellery. A little bit of Posca for the eye shinies and lip shinies, and that is it. This is one that I was having a really bad hand night and I needed some simple colouring, and so the water-based markers was the perfect solution for some very inflamed hands. But yeah, this one is super, super cute. I love this High Priestess and the fact that she's in a wheelchair. Like, oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So that is the Chibi Tarot Special by Jash Lee. And then the final Colouring Heaven digital book that I have is actually the Paper Dolls collection, which has got colour and cutout designs by Rachel Cohen. This is a really fun issue. I actually brought this one for my Nibblings Christmas present, and then I printed out a copy for myself because I was like, well, why not? Getting the issue anyway. But also so that I could colour with the nibbling and we could work on dolls together. So for example, this one here is an astronaut doll with designs kind of looks like 60s inspired, but also we've got a spacesuit. So you colour in the outfit, cut around, and you can make little paper dolls. There's like warriors there and more warriors, so many swords and weapons, which is super cool. Pirates. That's kind of like mod looking. Like there's so many different styles of dresses. This one's all 1940s. We've got like gym gear there. That one's just kind of like everyday wear. These like full-on ball gowns. These all sorts of stuff. There's some pretty dresses. There's just some more everyday wear. More everyday wear. So yeah, it's basically, I don't know where the title page has gone now and all that. It is basically 48 pages of dolls with clothes. So you're essentially getting 48 dolls with this as well, which is, you know, kind of a great deal. And it's a lot of fun to just sit there and color the dolls, cut out, and dress them up. And yeah, I had a lot of fun working with my nibbling too, which is the nickname for my nieces and nephews, if you didn't know. And yeah, we had a lot of fun just playing around with the dolls, and let's get rid of that tag. Just enjoying dressing them up and having fun with it. And so the dolls and the clothes themselves are done with water-based markers, a mixture of metallic and glitter gel pens. There's some glitter washi tape. There's stickers. You can see in her hair and on the dress there. Just all sorts of bits and pieces that I played around with for each of the dolls. And the body type of the dolls is also uniform, so you can switch clothes between each of the dolls. So yeah, it's not one that I see myself colouring frequently, but it is one that's good to have on hand for when the nibbling comes around and wants to do some more work with the dolls. And I just keep all the little cutout pieces in this bag to keep them together. So yeah, that is the Paper Dolls collection. And that is all my digital issues. So now, let's get started on the physical issue. So we'll start with the issues I have beside me. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of hydrating during this video because I have been recording all day. This is the last one I've got to record and I'm starting to feel it in my throat. So apologies if there's quite a few drink breaks. So this is the Wonderful Wizard of Oz Colouring Heaven collection. As it's got designs by Fabiana Trudy. She does a lot of work with Colouring Heaven and I adore it because her work is just stunning. Her portraiture, like, oh my god, the way that she draws faces. And I have done one in here, which of course is the Wicked Witch of the West, which was done with all the promo for the Wicked movie at the time. I really wanted to colour in the Wicked Witch of the West, Alphaba. And so for this one, I used Derwent Inktense to colour all of Alphaba with a little bit of a green glitter gel pen to do just like the details on her dress here. And a little bit of Posca for her eye and lips. And then she was originally had an umbrella, and I didn't want to colour on this big umbrella in the background. So what I decided to do was cut out where the umbrella base was and fill it in with some green glitter card and turn this into a wand. And so I cut out this area in here where she's holding the wand and just stuck a piece of card behind it, and then cut a second piece to be the stick, which I came coming up from here. So there's actually like a piece about yay big in here under it, and then the stick up there. It's not one continual piece. And then I had I've got a collection of random magazine bits and pieces that I keep for decoupage and scrapbooking and art journaling. And I knew I had a page that had a bunch of gems in it and jewelry and rings and stuff. And so this was like originally like a ring, and I kind of twisted it so that it looped around like this to create like this wand topper. I thought the green pearl really went with it. And then I cut out the green pearl from the matching earring and put it under another earring, which I layered on a couple of pieces to create this choker drop here. And then because I had gotten rid of the umbrella pole, I could get rid of the umbrella, so I cut around the whole image itself, and then layered in this piece of scrapbooking card in the background, which I love how this looks in the background. And then just to make sure everything's stuck down, I use some black glitter washi just around the borders to frame it up. And I really love how that one came together. A lot of collage, a lot of bits and pieces, but it's fun to do that, you know, it's fun to layer in all sorts of different bits and pieces, and I love how it came together. Yeah, gorgeous issue. That's the Wonderful Wizard of Oz collection. Percy and the Park Keeper. This is a really fun issue. I'd never heard of this series before I got the magazine. And I have done Percy and his friends. So this one's pretty straightforward. It's just a bit of alcohol marker on each of the characters, and then acrylic paints for in the background as well as the black. Just keeping it really, really simple and clean, but the characters are so cute. I felt like they didn't really need much. I could go in there and add like pencil highlights and stuff like that, but by the time I did all that acrylic paint, and then when I did the black, I had this black contaminated several other pages. It became a problem, so I didn't want to see this page ever again by the time I got into this stage. But I still really like it. It's cute, it's colourful, and yeah, just a fun issue. I really do want to get some more in here. Like, look at that little hedgehog in the balloon. It's so cute. Such a cute issue. So that is Percy and the Park Keeper. I have Colouring Heaven Collection Flowers with designs by Dina Stone. And I have done one in here. You'll find most of my Colouring Heaven has one and only one page done in it because of my 2024 push to work in my unworked books on my bookshelf. So a lot of my efforts in 2024 was to just touch books, and so there's one page done and that's it. I'm really looking forward to when I do this video next year to see how things look on January 1st of 2026 and see how much more I have worked in certain books. And if you do want to see, for example, 2024's version of this Colouring Heaven collection, where I just have like a pile of unworked Colouring Heavens to see just how many books I worked in 2024, down below there is a playlist with all other parts of the 2025 collection tour, as well as 2023 and 2024's collection tour as well. So a lot of content to check out down below. So I have done this amaryllis flower. I don't really know flowers. I don't generally enjoy colouring flowers. And this one wasn't bad. It was pretty quick because I did it all in Inktense and I just had fun with it. I used a little bit of a blue glitter gel pen just on the edge of the pot here. But yeah, I looked up this plant and I saw these beautiful dark red flowers with this pop of green for the stalk. And I was like, that's a really pretty combo. So I just coloured that up. And then I was trying to figure out the pot and I was like, well, blue's a good contrast. Then I just felt like the background needed something. And of course, yellow is like a primary that wasn't used here. So I just put in yellow to tie in with the green. And I really like it. It's simple, but it's effective. And sometimes it's all you need to do. So that is Flowers by Dina Stone. Then I have Horses. This is got Cindy Al-Sharuni and Dina Stone again. And I believe I've done a Dina Stone picture in here. I have this one here, which is another water-based markers page. Water-based markers are definitely my go-to when I'm feeling a bit inflamed and sore and want to colour but don't have the capacity to work with pencils because they're a lot on my hands on bad pain days. So water-based markers are a lot easier for me on those sort of days, which is why I do gravitate to them a lot. And you can do some blending and shading and produce some really beautiful bright coloured pages. So I have a lot of fun with them. I still think they're a great medium. And as well as the water-based markers, I also used a little bit of Mod Podge Sparkle in the sky. So there is just a little bit of sparkle in the sky. I worked that in very carefully to try and avoid too much bleeding of the sky. Yeah, when I was 11, 12, I had this adult's book of how to draw horses, and it had like all this hatching technique and grayscale technique. and I spent a summer drawing every single horse in that book. There was like 50 plus of them, and I drew every single horse. I learned so much that summer about shading, and I did that because I was like really into horses at the time. I did go for a horse girl phase, but then also that really got me into drawing in general, and portraiture and realism, and sent me on this whole thing. So yeah, really strong memory, and why I was like really excited about this horse issue, even though it's not something I would normally be too gravitated towards. It's a little bit of those memories. Oh look, I matched that one for some reason. It's super cute. Take that one out anyway. Yeah, so that's the Colouring Heaven collection horses. Then we have the Steampunk Special. This is one of my older issues. This has designs by Matt and Dawn Davidson, and is so gorgeous. I was so intimidated to work in this for so long because it's so stunning. I'm a little less intimidated to work in it now. I love this sci-fi Alice page. It is so cool. But I have done just the one in here, which I did on time. I did this one pretty recently. It was a simpler one in the book, but I wanted to just break the book per se and just have that page done so that I was like not so intimidated by this book, because again, it's been in my collection for a long time. It's one of my oldest Colouring Heavens, and I hadn't been able to touch it. So just doing something simple and very approachable was an easy way to sort of tick off the book and be like, yep, now you can go for it. So for this one, I use Anko watercolor and Kaisercraft shimmer sprays in the background, and then I think I used alcohol marker on top. I did alcohol marker to base her, Pablo coloured pencils to shade. I don't think I pulled out any Posca. I just left it with the shimmery gold, and it has got this beautiful golden reflect as well. I really like the colour palette, that purple, browns and golds. Such a pretty combo. I need to do that combo more often. So that is the Steampunk Special by Matt and Dawn Davidson. We have the Hatsune Miku collection. This is volume 2. There is 2 Hatsune Miku collection issues. Probably mispronouncing that still. I don't know. Like, I know that they're like an android singer and it's a game. That's about the extent of my knowledge. But they're pretty. I like it. I like the art. I like their outfits. And it was really fun to colour. So yeah, I did this cherry blossom one here. So of course I wanted to do tons and tons of pinks. I used watercolor in the background to create like a yellow, pink, purple blend. And then based her in alcohol markers and used Pablo coloured pencils again to shade and colour her all in. There is a little bit of metallic gold to do some highlights on the outfit, as well as a pink glitter pen to do all the actual cherry blossoms. So she does have also some glitter on her as well. It's quite a subtle glitter. It's not as strong as it could be, but I do quite like it. It's very sweet. So that is the Hatsune Miku collection, volume 2, and this is art by Kurisu Toshi. Still terrible at Japanese. I have the Winter Gnome Special. This is a collaborative issue, so there's a few different illustrators. Most notably Mariola Budek, who I adore the work of, and I think I've done every single Mariola Budek in here now. So I have this one here. This one uses distress inks in the background, and then alcohol markers with a polychromos pencil to deepen out the shadows. There looks like there's a little bit of Posca as well to highlight, and some stickles on each of the ornaments. Again, I have alcohol markers, Posca for highlights, a polychromos pencil to deepen the shadows, and then a bunch of random gel pens to add in a couple of details. Then in the background, I used a glitter gel paint that I have to just fill out this background and just fill in the space. And you'll see that there's quite a few like this where the colors are kind of random. I use this as a way to test all my alcohol markers. So there are a few pages where things are a bit weird in terms of color choice, because I was just like diving into the bin, pulling out a color and using the color. So for this one, again, alcohol markers, polychromos pencil for shading, Posca for highlights, and a bunch of stickles to do all the presents. All the glitter. And then for the outer gnome, alcohol markers, polychromos pencil, Posca paint pen, a little bit of distress ink to do the glow up here, and then a liquid pearls, which I was trying out on the hat. So it's got a fun dimension, but I don't like the effect of them, and I don't actually use them because I'm not a huge fan of how they look or how they dry. This one is alcohol markers, polychromos pencil, Posca highlights, and then distress ink up here. Probably should have put some highlights on the letters or something, or made them pop a bit more, but I didn't. So this one uses alcohol markers, polychromos pencils, Posca paint pens for highlights, and a glitter paint pen for just a couple of details on the scarf and the hat. This one uses alcohol markers, polychromos pencils, Posca for highlights, stickles for the antlers, and some metallic paint pens on the presents. There is also transfer from the previous page because I thought I had my protection sheet in here and it turned out I had it behind, and I did not realize until after I'd started colouring the cane on this one. So there is unfortunately a little bit of transfer. It's not too bad. It could be much, much worse, but yeah. Alright, we have the gnome sledding. It is alcohol markers, polychromos pencil, Posca for highlights. There is also a glitter paint pen for the details on the hat, and Mod Podge sparkle for all the snow. So the snow has a beautiful glittery effect. Really, really fun. Again, some very random colours. I was testing my markers here, so it was just me pulling out whatever colours I pulled out of the bin. Then we have the caroling gnome. So again, alcohol markers, a polychromos pencil, Posca paint pen. This one uses glitter gel pens and metallic gel pens to do all the details. And I think that's everything I've done in here. As I said, I think I've just done all the metallic, all the snowmen, all the all gnomes. Oh my god, I am like wording so badly. I've done all the Mariola Budek pages in here. But, I mean, it's 10 pages in here. But I love her work, so. Yes, that is the Winter Gnome special. I have the Christmas special. Again, this is a collaboration of different artists. So I have this one here, which is by Frabinka Fantasy, of these cute little kitties in the stocking. I feel like this is kind of an older one, and it looks like I was playing around with some ink tints and maybe some watercolor, just seeing what I could create with them. Yeah, I don't see any pencil shadings or highlights or anything like that. It looks like it was all done in either ink tints or watercolor, and it doesn't even look like I was blending colors, to be perfectly honest. In fact, it could even be a bit of gouache in there as well, because I was doing a lot of gouache work at the time, so I could have even watered down my gouache as watercolor, and I had really terrible gouache at the time, so that wouldn't surprise me either. But yeah, super cute image. And I have this one here, which is by Hannah Lynn. This one uses alcohol markers, polychromos pencils to do some shading, some metallic gel pens, and some Stickles Extreme, a Mod Podge Extreme glitter for all the little details on the house. Yeah, this one's most cute. Again, I was still pulling random colours, so I normally probably wouldn't do like all these browns in the background, but it still kind of works. And yeah, it was just me testing different colours, seeing how they go, trying to find a place on the page that they worked, and luckily it works pretty well. Do like the little boy cheekily reaching up to eat the gingerbread house. And that's it for the Christmas special. You can see I pulled out a few Christmas ones. These are the ones that I recently worked on, so these are the ones that were on top. We have Santa's Workshop with designs by JR. And I have done one in here, which is Elf Life. This is again water-based markers. So there's a little bit of a metallic silver paint pen and a little bit of gold glitter gel pen for the star there. This is another simple little colouring. The face does need a little bit more, but I had layered up the face too much at this point and more would have damaged the paper, so I just left it as is. And then there's also a little bit of a blue glitter paint pen back here that I used to just fill up that space behind. Super cute page, lots of fun, really good simple colouring again. Good simple colouring is the key sometimes. Okay, next file. Oh, that hurt my hands. Whew. Might need to see if I can bring the massive files closer. Alright, next one is the Legends of Japan. This has got designs by Maud Limone, who is another illustrator I absolutely adore the work of. And I have done the Kitsune. So this one uses alcohol markers to base, I believe. Yes. With some, I'm guessing, water-soluble crayons in the background there. Then I know I came in with polychromos to shade because I sharpened them really sharp to go over all the tattoos to give it a little bit of colour. There is Liquitex gold acrylic ink for all the gold, and then Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer on top of all the flowers, so it does have like a little bit of a reflect as well. I really love how this one came together. Is that my only one in here? Oh, I need to show some more love to this book. That's sad. I know my other Maud Limone I've done a few more in. That was Legends of Japan. I have the Gods and Goddesses special. I know I've only done one in here. And that is Athena. This one is, not Athena, Aphrodite. Wow. Yeah, bear with me. My brain is just gone. This one is gorgeous. I love this issue. Now, for some reason, when I started this, I decided to colour it with Crayola coloured pencils, which, like, they're not bad, but they're also not my favourite thing in the world. I also didn't base, which doesn't help either. I just worked directly with the pencils on Aphrodite, which, yeah, I don't know, things we do at the time. So yeah, entirely coloured in Crayola coloured pencils. There is the Crayola signature glitter markers for the birds as well, both the swan and the birds up here, because I was like, well, when using Crayola. There is some gold metallic gel pen on all the armour. This background is water soluble pastels, and then a little bit of Posca for the water details, and then black acrylic paint for the frame. I do love how it came together in the end. It was a bit of a labour of love. Like, certain things could have been done better, but also we worked with what we worked with. We did what we could, and I'm happy, especially with the skin that I achieved. Like the blending on the skin and the shadows I managed to work in, considering I can't really get as many layers as I would like into Crayola pencils. It's not bad. Could be worse. Could be worse. So that is the Gods and Goddesses special by Josh Lee. Grimm Fairy Tale special by Naliki Shoemaker. This issue's super cool. And I have done, there you are, Little Red Riding Hood. I love this one. I love what I achieved here. I think this looks really, really cool, especially with that super dark background. So this has been based in alcohol markers and then worked on top with Prismacolor pencils and a little bit of metallic gold for a couple of touches. And I really wanted to keep Red Riding Hood in lots of reds and browns, whereas the wolf in lots of greys and greens. So even when I used brown on the wolf, I was trying to bring in a lot of grey tones to it and try and keep him more in those grey families, whereas Red Riding Hood I kept her more in the warm tones because I thought that would be an interesting contrast, and having that really deep dark background as well. Yeah, still really like how that one came out. So that is Grim Fairy Tales by Nicky Shoemaker. Little Cutie Special by Daria Karkasoy. Just the one. Thought I had two in here, but no, just the one. I have this gorgeous little Merm page. So the background has been done in watercolor. And then did I use alcohol marker? No. I wonder if I based it. I'm guessing I based it. I can't really tell. Worked quite a few layers of pencil over it, but I might have done a light base or something. I know for the fish I did use polychromos pencils to shade this whole thing, and then the fish I did colour in lightly and then go over with a pink Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer topper and then my Liquitex Gold Acrylic ink, so it has got this sort of pinky peach reflect, which is quite fun. There's some stickles on the bubbles, I know that much. Yeah, I'm guessing I probably did use some watercolour to base her at the same time. Yeah, really fun combo, like working a red, orange, purple Merm and then the golds and the pinks. Really fun colour combo. I normally end up just doing like blues and greens and pinks for Merms, so working red, orange, purple was quite an interesting change. I have the Fantasy Creatures Special. This has got some designs from Selena Fennick and then some designs from Chet Minton. I believe I have done a Selena Fennick design in here, but not a Chet Minton. I have done the Kitsune. This one is Liquitex Gold Acrylic ink for the moon, because I did a bunch of pages with this gold ink because I actually ended up spilling the bottle, so I was just trying to find any page I could put gold onto. And then for actual shading of this, I used my Liquitex acrylic inks and was really playing around with trying to shade directly with the inks. And yeah, really liked getting like the hairs matching and just playing around with different elements, and really fun, cute page. Really like good, simple colouring in this one. Just really sweet designs. So cool. I have the Colouring Heaven collection tattoos. This has got designs by Hannah Lynn and Dina Stone. And I believe I've done a Hannah Lynn in here. No, I have this one here. So I used alcohol markers to base and then distress ink in the background. There is Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer. That is what sounded like the pages were sticking together, if the mic picked that up. It's just a Enchanted Shimmer. It's not actually sticking at all. Just has a funny sound when you take it apart. Alcohol markers to base, and then polychromos pencils to shade, and a little bit of metallic gel pens to do all the tattoos as well. And yeah, I have no idea why I decided to do a red bath and then make all the pink bubbles, but it was fun. It was fun. Sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. So that is my only page in Colouring Heaven tattoos. Garden Gnome Specials, which has designs by Ava Brown. I've done a cat page in here. There you are. Kitty cat page. This is all done in alcohol markers with a little bit of stickles on the butterfly. Just some really simple, straightforward colouring. I really just wanted to do lots of gorgeous golden tones, like it was a cat just taking a bit of a nap at sunset. Really fun little page. So that is Garden Gnome Special by Ava Brown. I have the Dinosaurs collection issue. This has got designs by paleo artist Sergio Kravosky. Hope I pronounced that right. And I have the Giganotosaurus. I was not a dinosaur kid, but this issue's kind of cool. And when this issue came in, the store that I brought them from, because it was just a little mum and pop store, they usually would only get like 2 to 4 Colouring Heaven issues, and for some reason they got 12 of this issue, and they were like, oh, we're never going to be able to sell all those. And so I was picking my issue up, because I picked them up as soon as they came in, and I was like, if I go upstairs and speed colour one of these, do you want to put it in the window and hopefully it'll encourage people to buy because they'll see it coloured? And they're like, we'll give it a go, would love to do it. So raced upstairs and coloured this one, and then they put it in the shop window, and it was really cool, and it did help them move some extra issues, so I was very pleased about that. I think they ended up selling like 8 or 9 of them in the end. So yeah, so this one I used distress inks with a stencil in the background and then some Posca to do all the lightning. I know I used water soluble pencils, I think some Inktense, I think some Albert Duras or Mondeluz Acryl water soluble pencils, and then I did come in with Polychromos to do some shading as well, and some Posca highlighting as you saw. But yeah, fun page to do. Fun to play around with this guy. I still want to come in here and do a rainbow dino. I feel like, I don't know, I've just had a need to do some rainbow dinos for a while. The Alice in Wonderland Specials, which has got designs by Eva Ninkinen. And I have this Queen Alice page. So this one is another one where I didn't want to colour the background. It had like this pattern that was kind of zen doodly and followed her and just kind of distracted from the prettiness of her and her crown, and I really didn't care for it, so I actually very carefully cut out that background, and I mean very carefully because this crown is super fiddly, and restuck her down on this piece of scrapbooking card and left a tiny little frame which I stuck down with some gold washi tape, and so much better just making it all about her. To me it looks like an actual royal portrait now. And for colouring her, I don't think I based this one. I think I went straight on. Definitely the skin and the hair hasn't been based. And I don't think the crown's been based either. It's possible I just did some basing on all this red, so I didn't have to do so many layers on the red. But everything else I knew I wanted light, so I probably didn't base the rest of it. It's Polychromos pencils and probably a water-based pencil to base this lot. And stickles to do all the little sparkly details on her dress. Yeah, really like how this one came together. Super cute. So that is the Alice in Wonderland Special by Eva Ninkinen. I have the Ancient Egypt Special, which is another one by Fabiana Trudy. And I have this one here. And so this one was a little bit of a fix-up. I had started this page with some really cheap pencils I ended up getting rid of because they were just terribly bad. I managed to remove a bunch of it, but I couldn't quite remove it all on the bottom of her dress here. So I just had to work with the green as best as I could. It was there. So I used a mixture of alcohol markers and Prismacolor pencils. There is some ink over the background to just fade out these poles a little bit, and then there is also Mod Podge and some embossing flakes, which I did for all the jewelry, which was fun at the time, and I still really like the effect of it, but we do lose a lot of the detail of all the jewelry, but it was fun to try. And a little bit of Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer, which I put over the dress to kind of cover up the bad splotchy original dress from testing the pencils. But yeah, I really like how strong they pop against that dark background and that pop of red. Like, that was really cool. So that is the Ancient Egypt Special by Fabiana Chidi. As I said, a lot of the books just have one page done in them. Right, next file. I have Strawberry Shortcake collection. This one is so cute. So cute. And actually, I think I just worked from the start for this one. So this was another one that I took to bed to colour because I wasn't feeling well at the time. So I used water-based markers to base, and then I did shade over the top with, I think, polychromos pencils for this one, and I did use a yellow. I did use Posca to do like all the little details on her dress, and then just go around the outside of her as well. And then this one, I used polychromos pencils. I did base these main character elements, but I didn't base the background, and I wanted to keep that really, really light. So I just worked very lightly with the polychromos pencils directly over the background, but then shaded these characters properly, and then again a little bit of Posca just to bring out highlights and details of the clothes. And then this one here, which is just water-based markers and polychromos pencils. I didn't actually pull out the Poscas for this one. And I think that was the 3 that I got done in here. It is. So that was the Strawberry Shortcake issue. Gothic Beauty Special. So this has 5 different illustrators in here. I have done a couple in here actually. I believe there's some Crystal Tiger in here, so I need to Alchemy Carter. And I've done Mort de Morgana. So this one, I did just use polychromos pencils here. I did not base. I really wanted to have a contrast between her being really pale and some really deeply purple wings. And then the black acrylic paint that I did for the background. I should have actually done the gold, gone over all these little branches with gold after I had done the background. I just coloured them in with pencil, but I think they'll pop a bit better with gold, and I could have gone over the black acrylic paint, but hey, you live and you learn. Still really like the contrast of that one. Nina Fennec and Marine. Yeah, there's the Crystal Tiger, and then there is Sarah Richter. So Dragon Mask here. So this one uses Inktense, and it's not many Inktense. I think I used like Cherry Red and Saddle Brown and then Bark, and I was really trying to keep it quite limited and just see what I could do with the limited colours and just play around with them. I really like how it turned out, and then I did use a little bit of Liquitex Gold acrylic ink to bring in all the gold. It is my favourite gold to use. It's so bright and warm and shiny. And then I also have Vandriel, which is also by Sarah Richter. And this one, when I saw it, I saw sort of like a Elf Triton combo for D&D, like giving Merm vibes, but also giving Orc vibes, but also giving Elf vibes. And so I coloured it along that way. Now, she originally actually had a bit of a fin here, but I actually really liked her without the fin, so that is why I used the black acrylic paint in the background. This is not my usual black matte acrylic paint, so you can see all the texture in it, unfortunately. But I still love how she turned out. Again, just polychromos pencils with a bit of gold Liquitex acrylic ink and a little bit of Posca on the lip shinies. But yeah, I was having a lot of fun playing around with the skin tones and bringing in more blues for the shadows and yellows for the highlights on her skin. Just getting all those different tones into her skin, which hopefully the camera isn't completely destroying. It would be very like the camera to destroy it. So that is the Gothic Beauties Special. And then I have the Very Topia Special with designs by Mystic Art Mirrors. This is another one that I used to colour when I was studying, because I could do heaps and heaps of essay typing and then stop and then just pull out some markers and quickly colour for a little bit and take a bit of a mental health break, and then go back to typing up essays and whatnot afterwards. So yes, this one uses alcohol markers, stickles for all the glitter, Crayola signature iridescent paint pens, which I wish they would put this iridescent one separate. Came in like a set of 6 and the rest of them were like meh, but this one, so pretty. And a little bit of blue glitter gel pen. And then this one is alcohol markers and gold metallic gel pen. Looks like I use a little bit of pencil for some shading too in this one. And then this one is alcohol markers, and I never went in and did any shading on it, and a little bit of liquid pearl drops, which I don't like how that feels. That's like kind of weird feeling. And I think that's why I never came back. I didn't like how the red went down, and I was just like, all right, we'll just call it done. Again, this was when I was studying, so it was just about taking a little bit of a break. This one here, so this is alcohol markers, and then this really cheap glitter gel paint that I just put all over the place, and then I had to put a layer of Mod Podge over the top to seal it all in, because it just liked to go everywhere. But I do like the effect of it with all that glitter in the background. She was a fun little fascia colour. So this one here, I actually spent a little bit longer colouring. I was focusing on my blends, and I was like really enjoying how this one was colouring with the markers. And then I pulled out these really cheap nasty glitter glues that I do not have anymore, and applied the blue glitter glue, and it caused the alcohol markers to just bleed everywhere and create all these splotchy patches. And at first I was like, oh god, I'll never be able to fix that. And then I was like, you know what? It looks like vitiligo. Let's embrace it. So I'd used some Posca to define it even a bit more, and I did look online to try and look at models with vitiligo to kind of see where it may affect someone the most and make it look as accurate as possible. And I freaking love how this one turned out in the end. It wasn't my intention, but I really love how his skin looks, and I think it's really neat. But yeah, I did get rid of the glitter glues after this one. And then just have to keep her finger here because she's technically naked with all these bunnies. Actually, that little... that'll work. Alright. So again, this is just alcohol markers and a little bit of pencil for some shading. And yeah, just very cute little Faye. I wanted to keep her the same colour as the bunnies, like she's one of the bunnies. So yeah, very, very cute. Just I forget every time I do one of these flip throughs that I need to put something there. I should really just get a post-it note and permanently keep it there. So that is Very Topia Special by Mystic Art Mirrors. And we have the Nickel Girls Special by Dina Stone. I have done this one here. This one is alcohol markers, polychromos pencils, some metallic paint pens, and stickles, glitter glue. This is another one that would really benefit from having the frame blacked out. But I was really proud of the hair because I shaded that only with markers. I didn't end up using pencils at all for it. So, yeah, I was really proud of that one. And then I've done this one here, another one that would benefit from blacking out the frame. And again, alcohol markers and a bit of Stickles glitter glue on like the bow, the nails, the gems in the background. Hair's not as effective on this one, but I tried. So that is the Nico Girls Special. I have the Adorable Animal Special by Sweater Cross. And I know I've done an ice cream one in here. Yeah, this one. Really, really cute little illustration. It is alcohol markers with Posca and metallic gel pens. So they've got like little metallic stars in their eyes and then lots of like yummy Posca highlights. Just a sweet little page. Again, just some simple colouring, but really fun. Really like how it turned out. And that is the only one from the Adorable Animals issue. Hey! Mermaid Special. And I have done a couple in here. Alright, so we'll start with this one here, which is by Mystic Art Mirrors again. And this one is alcohol markers, Poscas, and metallic gel pens. And then she had a bunch of freckles on her face here, so I used the gold metallic gel pen to also go over her freckles and add some more freckles. And then I decided to use glitter to also highlight those freckles even more because I thought they were really, really sweet. So yeah, really fun little page. And then we have the Mariola Boudic one. Again, I have done all the Mariola Boudic pages in here because I freaking love her work. I really do need to go and buy a bunch of her PDF pages from Etsy because I love her work. So this one here uses Liquitex acrylic inks for the background. And then I think I used alcohol markers to base. I did. Alcohol markers to base. Polychromos pencils to shade. Stickles on all the bubbles and Posca to outline everything. And this one was really, really cool because I don't actively post in it now because I forget most of the time, but I used to actively post in the Friends of Colouring Heaven group and they actually shared this one. So it was a little like, ooh, that's my work. So it was really cool. It was a very cool moment for me. And I have this one here. So again, alcohol markers to base, Polychromos pencils to shade, and I used a glitter paint pen to go around the sea creatures and draw in a bunch of extra bubbles. Thought about colouring the whole page, but I thought it would actually be cool to just do the little area. And yeah, I like how that one looked, just with like the little frame of it. Then we have this one, which again is based in alcohol markers with Polychromos for shading, Posca for highlighting. There's a little bit of Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer on the ball here. And there is the glitter gel paint in the background, as well as some watercolour under the gel paint and down the bottom here. And I also took a Staedtler fine liner and just drew in a bunch of extra freckles on her because I just thought they were so sweet. I love all her little freckles. Then we have this one here. So this one was me using up the gold ink that I spread everywhere. So I just decided to paint the whole background gold. And then I used my watercolour to colour in the rainbow fish and the merm. So this is actually all being painted. And then a bit of stickles on the seashells. And I did pull out a Posca to do some direct highlights. And lots of me splattering paint all around too. But I was really proud of painting that one. And just seeing how far I could push myself with watercolours. I love, love, love how that one turned out. that's it for the Mermaid special. So yeah, really, like, if an issue has Mariola Burdick, I've probably coloured every single page, and I really do need to get on to getting more of her work. Right, I have the Sea Life issue, which is another collection of different artists. And this one has my first ever Rita Berman page, because it actually has some Rita Berman pages in it. Something I am learning from all these complete collection tour videos. Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. A lot of my books, I don't think I left it to fully cure before I closed and put on the shelf. So there's a lot of peeling apart the pages. Luckily, it's not too bad for the majority of them. But yes, Mod Podge Extreme Glitter on the background here. This has been based in alcohol markers, polychromos pencils for some shading. There is a metallic gold pen that has been used for some highlight details and some silver. And then, of course, the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. And this was really fun to do. It was fun to go so bright and colourful. And yeah, this was my first ever Rita Berman page. And then in that same month, I was gifted two of Rita Berman's books, which was absolutely so generous and so kind. And I was very, very grateful for that. So that is Sea Life by Colouring Heaven. Alright, hopefully that's all good now. I just had an alert from the computer that it was full. So just had to make some more space so we could keep on recording. So this is the Mythical Hybrid Special by Jash Lee. And I have done the Lion Queen page in here, which is this one here. I love how this one turned out. This one is done entirely with polychromos pencils with just a tiny bit of Posca to help create some shinies on the gold and stuff like that. Just some highlights, just a white Posca. Every once in a while I get in the mood to shade only with polychromos pencils, and I do love it when I do it. Like, I like the way it works. It's a lot of layers, but it does absolutely kill my hand, so I don't do it as often as I used to. But it does look really, really good when I do take the time to do it. So that is the Lion page from Mythical Hybrid Special by Jash Lee. And then we have the Manga Fantasy Special with designs by Sonia Leong. And I have done the Fairy page here. This one uses Distress inks in the background. It has been based with alcohol markers, Prismacolor pencils to shade all her, and then Mod Podge Extreme Glitter for all the butterflies. Yeah, so just a simple, sweet little page, but really fun. Feel like the Distress ink really helped with this sort of bubble texture that's in the background as well. That is the Manga Fantasy Special by Sonia Leong. Right, next pile. Creatures of the Night special. This is a very important issue for me because this was the first Colouring Heaven issue that I got that really made me fall in love with adult colouring. I think this is the actual oldest issue I have. There may be one older. At the start there I got them a bit randomly, but yeah, this one was definitely the one. I got this issue, I got a Kirby book, and it was like, oh damn, this is what adult colouring can be. It's more than just the cutesy Joanna Basford designs. Like, it can be portraiture, it can be these beautiful, fantastic, detailed illustrations. And because I used to be a portraiture artist, this book by Sarah Richter really spoke to me as well. So yeah, so this does have some of my older colorings where I was really trying to get my hands working again. So some of them aren't the greatest coloring, but they show my journey, you know. So this one is just Prismacolor pencils. I do like the different colors I managed to get into her hair. And this one again is Prismacolor pencils. I didn't even finish off the background pieces. Probably my hands were giving up then. But these like areas where I kind of went over the lines and did my best, but I know how my hands were. This one I was trying to use Albert Durer's to see if that would be any easier on my hands. I didn't even finish activating down here, and you can see a section where my hands just went off to the side there, but I was trying. And then this one was Albert Durer's, and I thought it would be cool to go over the outlines with a gold gel pen, and it's like really bad outlining jobs because, again, my hands were really not great here. I didn't even finish colouring in the pearls. It is what it is. And then I stopped working in order because I didn't care. This is a work in progress page. I used to cut out the pages because I thought I would like frame them or something. So this has been based, I think in 2020 was when I based this with alcohol markers because I realized that would be easier on my hands. So I went through and I based quite a few different pages in here, and this is the last one that I've got to finish off. So I'm hoping to get this one finished in 2025. Is one of 4 whips that I currently have, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't do this anymore. I haven't even finished basing it. This was another one that I had pre-based with some alcohol markers, and in 2024 I went in there and finished off. So alcohol marker base, polychromos to do all the shading. I pulled out a stencil and some distress inks to create like a bubble texture in the background. Then some Kaisercraft shimmer spray on top. A little bit of Posca. And yeah, I remember when I did this, I was thinking she would be like a cool sea moon creature. And I pulled out like the blue and the purple and the teal. And then I pulled out a colour called coral for a base. And I was like, oh, coral, yep. Coral's part of the sea. So I just coloured it and then was like, oh, this is so orangey. That was not the vibe. But that's okay. I did it, I based it, and then I let it sit there for years before I finally went in there and shaded it. Now there is just one more. Okay, one of my favourite ever pages I have coloured. In fact, last 2 complete collection tours, I ended on this page because it was my favourite. And if I had thought ahead and ordered my books, I would have left this one till last because it is still one of my favourite pages I have ever coloured. I regret ripping it out of the book. I didn't even trim the edges straight, but I freaking love how it turned out. So this one I used alcohol markers to base and then a lot of layers of polychromos on top to shade. This is when I was really trying to teach myself how to do metallics. They're not perfect, but I was pretty pleased with them at the time, and I really wanted to play around with light and make the candles the only viable light source. So I did spend ages figuring out how the lighting would work from just the candles. Now again, it's not perfect. I know a lot more about it from now, but it's still really, really good, and I still really love this page. I love just, she is such tiefling vibes, so cool. And yeah, just really, really love. And you can see the brown that I used to base under the black, so how many layers went into this background so that I could keep that gradient for the lights. So many layers, so many layers on this page, but I love it. So that is Sarah Richter's Creatures of the Night special. Oop, 2 at once. Alright. I have the Element special. This is completely unworked. It is by Anne Stokes. I got this issue and I loved the work, and then I found one of her books and it was only like $3 or $4, so I ended up grabbing it as well. And I much prefer the book because it's bigger and it's square, and it feels like a lot of these were meant to be in those books as square images, and they've just sort of added in extra borders and they've shrunk it right down to fit into this because it is an oversized square book as well. So yeah, it's still a gorgeous issue. And I do need to get in here. There are images in here that aren't in the other book, so I do need to get in here and show it some love. But the Element Special is currently one of my unworked books. I have Fledgling Fairies, my most completed colouring book of my whole collection. This one I got when I happened to head away on holiday. So I did a couple of pages on holiday, and then I was in a car accident. I was okay. I walked away with just some scrapes and bruises, but it left me pretty shaken up to the point I still have PTSD from it. But I got stuck away because the car was a write-off, so I got stuck where I was for an extra 2.5 weeks, and I was dealing with a lot at the time, so I coloured a lot in this issue. So there is a lot done in here. So this one here, I was watching Christine Caron's actual, like, she has some YouTube videos where she shows her colouring, and she always starts off with this layer of watercolour in like blue and red and yellow and green, and then she works on top, and it was really fun. So I was trying to replicate that a little bit. So there's watercolour in the background and then polychromos pencils on top. And then I didn't have any of my splatters, but I did draw in with some Posca and some glitter gel pens, a bunch of random dots all over the page too. Super cute frog sledding. Sledding? About to say like frogging, but no, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know words at this point. Oh, I swear, every time I film the Colouring Heaven Complete Collection Tour, it is a descent into madness. Alright, this one again, watercolour in the background, polychromos to shade, and some Posca for all the little details. Watercolour in the background, polychromos to shade, Posca, and some glitter gel pen on the wings. Really wanted to play with that like light source over here, so having all those little glowing yellow sections where the light is getting here. This one here, I thought it would be fun to sort of colour it like it was me, because I had a green sweatshirt like that at the time. I did used to have glasses like that. Of course, I had my blue hair at the time, and you know, she's reading about fae and fantasy, and it's like, that's me! So I just coloured her like it was me, because it was fun, and why not? So I used watercolour in the background, polychromos pencils for shading, a silver glitter gel pen to colour in all the fae, and a bunch of Posca for all the little details around. This one is just polychromos pencils. Really sweet little page. I just love the expression and the way the faces look. This one is polychromos pencils with a little bit of glitter gel pen on the butterflies. This was all done in the same 2-week period at the moment. Like, we're still going. There's about 12, I think I did in that 2-week period. It's quite a lot. Water-based watercolor in the background, polychromos pencils, gold glitter gel pen, and there's also a little bit of the gold glitter in the eyes as well. Polychromos pencils, a little bit of Posca for all the eye shinies. I just love the little fae friend. Now this one I did when I got back, and this one uses Prismacolor pencils because I wanted that really fluorescent bright pink. I did look up to see, and there is, I've written here, Hyacinth Bean Vine, which is this really cool bean vine that has like a bright pink in it, because I did really want to do like green and pink for her. So this one I used polychromos pencils to colour her in, and then I used a bunch of watercolour in the background, Kaisercraft shimmer sprays, and then Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer to create like a top layer, and then drew in a bunch of water droplets on top as well. So it was like she was in the rain. This is when I got home and started experimenting a little bit more. And I did that because I had to cover up the shimmer spray that was from this page that overspilled, so it worked really well. So this one used the Unity pencils that I got to try. They're super scratchy, so I kind of had to do a bit more streaky colouring for her face, but it still works, and I really wanted to have like a bit of a green glow around everything. Like these little dragons are glowing everywhere. So yeah, the Unity colored pencils, and then a bunch of Kaisercraft shimmer spray, the oversprayed, a little bit of Posca for the shinies. So this one, the Astral Fae, I use Liquitex acrylic inks in the background, and then a Posca paint pen to go over all the Fae. And I thought it would be fun to do some little yellow dots and kind of make a more galaxy vibe and bring in some yellow into her. And then my Posca exploded. I think that's the only like major explosion I've ever had with a Posca, so I just worked with it as best as I could. I don't mind it. It's not ideal, but it happens, you know? This one, I was trying out a few different media. This one's definitely not my favorite. I colored in the page, and then I used this Art Alchemy iridescent paint on top, and then I lost a bunch of the details and I wasn't happy with it, so I pulled out paint pens and I was just going over all the outlines and didn't really like how that looked. But at that point, you know, I had to carry on, so I just carried on. But yeah, not my favorite thing in the world, but it was a fun little experiment. This one uses Prismacolor pencils and some terrible cheap glitter gel paint. Right, one uncolored page with a little bit of pink bleed through from the fairy wings. Two uncolored pages. And the third uncolored page. So this one here was me playing around with some gouache and watercolor paints, and also trying to create like a really translucent fabric. It's again not the best coloring, but the point of this was me to try and play with the watercolors and the gouache and see what I could do with the fabric. So I achieved what I needed to achieve from the page, and I learned what I needed to learn. So that's the main thing. And then I use some Liquitex gold acrylic ink to just go over all the wings and the feathers of the birds, because I don't want to colour all those feathers. And then I blocked out the border. Uncolored, uncolored. Right, angel eyes. So this one uses alcohol markers for all the shading on her. And then I use a Posca paint pen in black and white to go over the eyes and make them really pop. A couple of different stickles to do all the stars and the halo. And this background is a paint stick that is designed for kids, like a paint crayon in a metallic silver. And yeah, I really like this one. I love how like the grey palette just works together so well, and all the different tones of grey. Alright, this one is alcohol markers as a base with polychromos pencils for shading. There is stickles all over the wings, and then there is this chunky glitter gel paint that I then had to go over with Mod Podge to seal in, because it never ever stays. And because of that gel paint, I had a little bit of bleed through on here, but it's okay. It's like very minimal. I don't think it's too bad. And so for this bay, did I use alcohol markers to base? I did alcohol markers to base, polychromos pencils for shading. I used distress ink with a stencil to do all the cloud patterns in the background, stickles for all the glitter, and then some Posca highlighting as well. This one is just polychromos pencils. This is another one I did pre-car accident away. Had a lot of fun with this one and just pulling in all the different colours, making your eyes super shiny with a couple of Posca highlights. This one I have used Crayola Super Tips to base, and then polychromos pencils to shade, and a little bit of Deco Colour Glamour Dust to do all the little glitter touches. Still got to colour that one. This one uses distress ink in the background, alcohol markers to base, stickles for all the bubbles and this magic-y bit in here, Posca and polychromos pencils for shadings and highlights. And then this is dragonfly glaze. My mum had just gotten some, and so I just asked to try it, because why not? This one is alcohol markers to base, distress ink in the background. It looks like Prismacolor for shading, and I would say there is some Mod Podge extreme glitter for all the little fairy flower details. That one's still to be coloured. The Sugar Plum Fairy, which was me just wanting to colour with a bunch of pink. So this one uses distress inks in the background with the cloud template again. Alcohol markers to base her. These silver metallic paint pens and purple glitter paint pens. Stickles all over the wings and for like on the crown. There will be some pencil shading as well to deepen up the pencils. White paint pen to do all the dots and eye shinies and lip shinies and all that sort of good stuff. And yes, so much pink. Sometimes it's fun. This one uses polychromos pencils to shade for her, and then distress ink in the background with a leaf stencil, and then a bit of stickles for the eyes and lips and nails. This one uses watercolor in the background with some pencil shading on top, and I was really trying to play with, again, I was very inspired by Christine Karen, so I was trying to do like lots of yellows on this side and lots of reds on this side. It's not that effective, especially with the dark blue in the background, but there is a little bit of a glow to this side versus this side, so it did help a little bit. But doing all the Posca outlines kind of lost a little bit of the lighting. I should have kept the lighting, these lines more on this side where it was lighter. That's okay, you live and you learn. Plus I did none in the hair, so it makes the hair look really weird in comparison. But hey, you learn. Alright, this one is watercolor in the background, Prismacolor to shade her, lots of stickles and Posca paint pens to add all these dots around and glitter a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to do lots of pinks and purples and pretty, and she's got a happy fairy, so I had to add a lot of glitter as well. So we're going to do Starcatcher. Fox Rider. So this one actually uses some oil pastels because I was curious to try oil pastels, so I thought this would be a cool page to do it on, and learned very quickly not the biggest fan. It was fun, it was easy, it's a good way to fill out a background. Not a fan of doing it for the main elements on the page though, but it worked. And then I used some Liquitex white acrylic ink and splattered that on the page to create like a bit of snow. And then because it's oil pastel and it's quite sticky, I used Mod Podge Extreme Glitter to go over the top and also seal in the oil pastel. So this one uses alcohol markers to base, polychromos pencils to shade, some Posca for highlighting, stickles for all the little dots, and of course distress ink around the edge. I really wanted to play with their opposites, so fire and ice, and then have the purple in the middle as the medium between the two. Still going to colour that one. This one here again uses alcohol markers as the base, polychromos pencils for shading. I think there's like some watercolor or some acrylic paint or ink in this background. I had to go back over the background because again this was another one of the cheap glitter paints that I now no longer use because it caused some weird issues in the background. And you can see like some of the yellow spread up here possibly. I made it work as best as I could though. You can't really tell too badly on this one. But yeah, I really liked this palette. I was really trying to go for like browns and greens. Keep it very in that family, which is difficult for me because I do love my rainbow colours. And I did actually border this one, which makes it look so much better. So this one was me experimenting entirely with watercolour and just trying to colour the page with watercolour. And then there is a little bit of metallic paint pens just for like the headdress and to match the frame, and of course acrylic paint for the background. And then the final one in here is this one here, where I went nuts with the glitter. And it did cause some weird patterning again. So on her leg here and on her hand here, because this is again the cheap glitter paint that I no longer use. And so I used a polychromos pencil to go over where that sort of pattern had occurred and make it like leaf tattoos to sort of fix it up. And I won't, it is definitely the end of the book, but I won't flip any further because, as I said, this is a book I had with the car accident, and the next page actually has the information from the car accident because this is what I had on me. But yeah, that is my Fledgling Fairy special. It is my most completed issue to date, and there's a good chance I will be finishing it in 2025. Right, I have a run of issues I have not coloured in by the look of it. The Vikings issue is another uncolored issue for me. Pets Rock, which is such a funky issue. It's animals as celebrities, but doesn't have like, it's animals impersonating celebrities. It's weird, but it's funny. Flipped it so many times because it's funny. Haven't coloured in it yet. Kings and Queens special by Jash Lee. Definitely need to get into this one because I love Jash Lee's work. So gorgeous. Just need to get in there and touch it. Flower Girls issue. This is Mayumi Ogahara and Anastasia Koldareva. So this one here, I believe alcohol markers. Yes, look at that yellowing. It's okay. I'll work with it. Alcohol markers with polychromos pencils on top. Bunch of stickles. And then I went around the edge with like a black Posca pen and used some gold. I don't think it was the gold Liquitex paint here. I think it was like a gold crayon or something. But I felt like it kind of made it look like stained glass, and I really liked that effect. And then I know that there's at least one more in here. This one here. And so this one again uses alcohol markers to base and then polychromos pencils to shade. A little bit of Posca to highlight the eyes and the lips and the butterfly. And then some stickles. I know this is Twinkle. To go over these flowers in the background, which I really like the effect of. And then we have this one here. So if you watch my 2024 wrap up, you will know this page was a bit of a nightmare. It was a page where disaster upon disaster kept on happening, but we got there in the end. We managed to save it. It's not my finest work, but I'm just proud that I got it to this point. It was getting to the point the page is all ripped up and textured, and yeah, it started because I used water-based mediums to base this, and this paper just went splotchy with it. Sometimes it happens with Colouring Heaven issues, and you get these really obvious vertical lines. It doesn't happen in every issue, but it happens, unfortunately. But yeah, so there was water-based pencils, Inktense to base, and then I used alcohol marker to try and fix it up and smooth it out. Then a bunch of polychromos pencils, more alcohol marker, more polychromos pencils, a lot of layers. There's some stickles on the lips, and then I think I just used some black ink to go over the flower because it was just really, really bad. So I just blocked it out with black ink and then used gold paint pens to fill in all the little strings of this back orchid and a bunch of glitter on there too, and black acrylic paint in the background. So that is Flower Girls. Bad Girls Special. This is another multiple artist issue. Lots of gorgeous, gorgeous pages in here. Yep, so this is the first one here. This is by Mitzi Satuwith. I'm probably mispronouncing that. And it's called Unless. This one is all done in Crayola Super Tips, done as water-based markers, a bit of Posca for some details, and then a bunch of stickles as well. Yeah, this one was a lot of work, but a lot of fun. I really, really like how this one came together. This one is Midnight Spell by J.M. Leoiti. This was a page that I did on a travel day, and I just coloured in that red sky for ages while travelling. I just needed something to focus on, and so I just used polychromos pencils. So by the time I was done travelling, I carried on with just the polychromos pencils to finish off the page. It's pretty, it's really sweet. It isn't the most even of colouring, but it was done on a car journey, and car journey colouring is more about keeping my mind off the journey and on something else, because again, I still get very anxious when in a car. So this one here again uses Crayola Super Tips as watercolour with a little bit of Liquitex gold acrylic ink splattered around and a bit of glitter gel pen as well. And then this one uses alcohol markers to base with some polychromos pencils for shading. I use the liquid pearls to do all the little details on the key and the necklace down here, as well as some stickles. And then I pulled out the leaf stencil with distress inks for the background. And that is everything in the Bad Girls Special. We have the Halloween Special. I believe this is from 2022 Halloween Special. It is an older Halloween Special. I have this page here that was done by Inés Guerrero. And this one uses alcohol markers and polychromos pencils for her. Obviously a bunch of stickles for the leaves and butterfly wings, and then distress ink for the background. Really like the sort of autumn colour palette that I got in here. Really fun page. Then I have this one here by Sarah Richter. This one uses alcohol markers. I think I pulled out a little bit of pencil for shading, but it's really trying to shade with just the alcohol markers. In fact, I don't even think I pulled out pencil. I think it's actually the line work that was there. So yeah, just alcohol markers and then stickles. This one is by Simona Candini, and again is alcohol markers. Looks like Prismacolor for the shading and a bunch of Posca detail work as well. Super cute page. And then this one was my first ever Hannah Lynn page. I really didn't think I would like colouring Hannah Lynn with all these dark thick lines. So this was a bit of an experiment page for me. I used some acrylic paint to actually block out a lot of the line work, and then went in with polychromos pencils to try and shade without that big thick black line. And it was fun to try. I did like the face, and then I just left it for ages and ages, and then I came back and I used some cheaper pencils to finish off because the texture of the acrylic paint was chewing out my pencils. So I just used some cheap pencils to finish off the rest of the body. And then I used the paint sticks in the metallic gold and the metallic pink to just block in the background. Don't worry about shading in all the background, because this was me experimenting and just playing with removing the lines. And yeah, it was a fun piece to do. Wouldn't use acrylic paint again to block out the lines. I have other mediums I would use in its place now. Yeah, I do like how that one turned out in the end. So that is the Halloween special. We have the Fantasy Figures special. This has got designs by Maud Limone. So we have this one here. This is a bit of an older colouring page. I believe this one was coloured with Crayola, like all Crayola. Crayola pencils for her, Crayola signature glitter markers for all the glitter. So yeah, very light and very pale, no basing, all Crayola. Very old piece of mine. And then I have this one here. So I really wanted to play with blue, green, and yellow as a combo because I realized when I did this one, which is February 2022, because it is dated. I used to date. I don't like dating. I don't like writing on the page now, so I don't date my work, which I may regret in a few years, but hey. This one I really wanted to play with blue, green, and yellow as a combo because I realized I don't use that combo a lot at the time. And so I used polychromos for shading. Did I use alcohol markers to base? I did, except for on the hair. I'm thinking I actually used either Derwent Inktense or Albert Durers to base the hair. And then went in with polychromos for shading. There's a bunch of glitter gel pens for a little bit of detail around. And yeah, really, really neat. I love with the black border. I just love how clean it looks with the border. It definitely frames the piece up. But a lot of this was me playing around with using like the blushes all done in watercolor. So a lot of it's based in water mediums and me trying to learn a bit more about water mediums. Alright, this one here is based in alcohol markers. And there is some Posca highlighting and metallic gel pens. When I originally coloured this, I knew I wanted to do like reds and oranges and browns and peach. And then I knew there'd be a little bit of green because of the leaves. And so I knew there'd be leaves on here and leaves on here. And I was like, cool, I'll just bring it into the fan and it will bring it across. And then I realized your eyes are just drawn to these central fans because of the way the green was. So I used a gold gel pen to sort of block them out. You can still sort of see a bit of the green, but it's not as prominent and your eye isn't drawn here. And instead this creates the movement to sort of bring your eye out to her face, which is what I wanted. This one here, I love how this one turned out. I was so proud of it when I did it because again, this was a lot of shading with just alcohol marker, like working all these blends of the fabric with just alcohol marker. I was really, really pleased with that. I did use some of polychromos pencils to do like the blush on her cheeks, a little bit on the clouds, and lots of stickles on the butterfly wings. And then this is the Crayola signature iridescent pen that I freaking loved. So pretty. Yeah, really fun, pretty page there. This one here is my Space Cupid. She is coloured in Prismacolor, and I believe he is a combination of Prismacolor and Polychromos pencils. I used some Gallery water-soluble crayons for creating this galaxy background, way too many stars, and then the wings have been covered in my own homemade Mod Podge and glitter glue, which is just like loose glitters combined with Mod Podge to create that really fun glitter background. Not background, wings. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to yawn non-stop as well. That one's just a frame that's been coloured in. Alright, we have my Barbie page. This one I looked at and I just saw Barbie, so I was like, I'm just going to colour her like she's Barbie. So, alcohol markers. Again, really trying to focus on blending with the alcohol markers. There is a little bit more polychromos in this one for shading, and a tiny little bit of glitter gel pen in the centre of the flowers and on the edge of the dress. But yeah, lots of pinks, bit of purple, very blonde here. She's very Barbie-esque to me. And then this one here, again, alcohol markers to base, polychromos pencils for shading, Posca for highlighting. This is all Stickles glitter glue. I did originally have it based with this copper paint pen, but it was quite streaky and I didn't like the effect of it, so I went over it with Stickles, which I much prefer how that looks. And then acrylic paint in the background to help do that bordering, which it really desperately needed. And with the black border, like, this just looks so crisp and clean, and I love how it turned out. And I think that is everything. It is in Fantasy Figures Special. And I have Fantasy Kingdom Special. This has got designs by Chris Ortega. This is one of my favorite issues now. It is gorgeous, and I want more of her work because it is just stunning. Cannot wait to get in here and do another page. But for now, I have done the Forest Nymph. This one has been done entirely with polychromos pencils, no basing. There is a little bit of Posca for, like, again, eye shinies, lip shinies, a little bit of highlights on the center of flowers, and a gold glitter gel pen for just the tie around her dress. But yeah, I really wanted to play with her being an actual foresty nymph creature, like someone who is of the trees. So I thought it would be really fun to do her skin green. And then I did lots of peaches, which is not a combo I usually do, but I kind of dig it, you know? So that is the Forest Nymph issue page from Fantasy Kingdom Special by Chris Ortega. I have the Faywell collection. This has got designs by Norman Faywell, who I think is some sort of British cartoonist. I'd never heard of him. It's quite a funny issue, though. And I have done just page 1. I don't know what to do. I just fill a page 1. So this one uses alcohol markers to base, I believe. It does. And then I did use Pablos to shade and fill in the background. I don't think I used any Posca. I think it was just Pablos and alcohol markers. Really simple, but a really fun page. Again, sometimes it's fun to just have these simpler pages when you're not feeling great. So that is the Faywell issue. Last pile. Oh, don't drop the pile. Oh, last pile. The last pile. Wingling Special by Jasmine Becker Griffith. I have done the one Birdlings. So this one uses alcohol markers, polychromos pencils, a little bit of Posca for eye shinies and around the candle, and then Mod Podge Extreme Glitter in the background. And when I finished this page, I did say the thing I regret doing is the bright green of her socks, because it is the only bright green on the page and it kind of draws your focus in. I should have done them grey, and then it would have been like really harmonious as a palette. But hey, I know why I did bright green. I just did bright green socks there. But it was fun. That was my first ever Jasmine Becker Griffith page. Really cute issue. Looking forward to colouring some more eventually. As you can see, there's quite a few to colour. We have the Wildwood Witches Special. This has got designs by Steve Hutton. And I've just done the one. The line work in here is like really loose and whimsical. And so I kind of felt like it needed sort of a loose, whimsical colouring style. So I did use ink tints to colour this one. Lots and lots of ink tints. I did pull out metallic gel pens to do all the details. There is Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer for these little fey creatures, and Glamour Dust on the ball here. So yeah, I don't know, I like it. I like the looseness of it. I feel like it matches the looseness of the lines. Yeah, a really neat issue. I really love that one with the motion. Kitty page. Anyway, that is the Wildwood Witches Special with designs by Steve Hutton. Oh, yeah, you can get them over a bit. Cabbage Patch Kids issue. I have one page in here, which is an Easter page that I did not colour around Easter. I chose this page because I was trying out a set of Tombos that I was gifted. It's like the tropical set, and so I was just playing around with the colours that were in that set and seeing what I could produce and seeing how they worked. And then I used a little bit of Posca to highlight and stuff as well. And yeah, definitely like, especially the skin is not the greatest blend, but it was fun. It was a good opportunity to learn, and sometimes that's the point, just colouring something to learn how a media works. So that is the Cabbage Patch Collections issue. I have the Stained Glass Flowers issue. This one doesn't actually say. It is Dina Stone. It says it on the inside. So I have this one here. This one is alcohol markers, a white pencil, I believe it's a Pablo, and then a little bit of stickles on the flowers. When I did this, I did choose the wrong colour for like into the flower and the stem, so they look very similar, which wasn't my intention, but that's okay. And yeah, just trying to make it look a little bit like stained glass. I probably needed to go in there and like create like little ridge edges for like, as you look across glass, like panes of glass with the thickness of it, there's sort of like an edge that you can see through. So I kind of think I need to do that. It's hard to explain without a reference image, but I can see it in my head. But luckily, there's a lot more of a book for me to colour in and figure it out if I want to try it again. That is Colouring Heaven Collection Stained Glass Flowers. I have the Nouveau Fairies Special, which has designs by Herb Leonard. Now, some of these I do have in the digital colouring books I have printed by him, but there's also a bunch of pages in here I don't have. And the Cherry Fairy page. So this one is a What Didn't I Chuck at This Page media page. There is alcohol markers. Yep, alcohol markers, and then water-based markers for the black of the frame. Polychromos pencils for shading. There is Posca for highlighting. On the wings we have some Art Alchemy iridescent paint, as well as Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, which is in the centre of the flowers as well. There is a Deco Colour Rose Gold paint pen, Deco Enchanted Shimmer in the background. Yeah, just very much like, let's throw everything at the page. But it was fun. And I like the result. And those cherries look delicious and pop. So that is Nouveau Fairies Special with designs by Herb Leonard. The Gothic Fantasy Special with designs by Inez Guerrero. I have done the Moon page. So this one again uses alcohol markers to base. And I used a way too dark alcohol marker in the background, so I lost the swirl of the dress into the sea of the ocean. So I decided to bring in that sort of foaminess with some Kaisercraft shimmer spray. I used Polychromos pencils to shade, and I really wanted to play with like a blue glow from a blue moon behind her. Gold metallic gel pen and stickles for all the jewelry and stuff, and stickles in the moon as well. So lots of glitter, lots of shimmer. Lots of fun. Really, really like that one. Contrasted the blue and the light here. It's just also pops really nicely. And that is everything in the Gothic Fantasy issue. Have the Colouring Heaven Birds collection with designs by Coco Wayo. And I have done the Chickadees. So this one uses Reeves water-soluble pastels in the background in this pretty peach colour. Alcohol markers to base. I think it's Prismacolor for the shading. A little bit of metallic gel pen around each of the flowers. And of course Kaisercraft Gold Shimmer Spray. And yeah, really, really like this. I was really stuck on the background for a while until I realised that the peach would provide a really beautiful contrast. And I'm really glad I did the peach in the background because I really like it with the peach. So that is the Colouring Heaven Collection Birds issue. We have the Starry Night Special with designs by Weisheng Ong. And I have the Celestial Rose page. So I really wanted to colour a girl with greyish white hair for this one. And so I used, water-based markers to base this one. I think this is one of my first attempts basing with water-based markers. Polychromos pencils for shading, and then a bunch of a silver metallic gel pen to go over all the stars in the frame. Now, the thing that I realised later that it would have been better if I had done a more pinky purple on here, and it would have really tied everything together rather than this pop of blue down here, which kind of brings your eyes down here first. However, there is a bit of blue in her eyes, so you do kind of draw up a little bit. But yeah, this definitely became the focal point, and that was not my intention. It should have been here. But that's okay. It's still a really gorgeous image, and I do really love how it turned out. That is the Starry Night Special by Weisheng Ong. 2 years in a row I had that issue, and I would do the complete collection tour, and I'd say, I'm going to leave this one out to colour it, and I didn't colour in it. And I finally coloured in it. The Manga Manga Theories Special. There is also a Manga Fantasy Special. This is the Manga Theories Special with designs by Stanera. And I have this one here. Alright, alcohol marker base. Yep. Alcohol marker 2 base. Polychromos pencils for shading. A little bit of gold metallic gel pen. And then I did use a Posca to go around the frame here. But I probably should come in here and block off this white. I think it would make it feel a lot more complete. There's also a little bit of washi tape on like the cuffs and the corset in here, with this little brown pattern that I thought would work really well for just a little detail on her outfit. So it is the Manga Fairy Special with designs by Stanera. I have the Vintage Costume issue with designs by Jasmine Darnell. Also really like this issue. Gives me Josh Lee vibes with the way the eyes look in that. No, these two in here. Yes. So this one here. So this one uses Polychromos pencils and Liquitex gold acrylic ink for all the gold. And then I did use washi tapes again. Both pages in here use washi tape. And I chose the tape first and used that to dictate the colours of the page. So I really like this darker green tape. So I pulled that in for her outfit here. Just, yeah, really pretty with that little bit of gold shimmer. And then I've done this one here, which again, it was all about this washi tape that I chose. It doesn't quite line up pattern wise, so you can see in here particularly there's stripes from the different layers of it, but that's okay. It was still really fun to do. So yeah, that gave me the sort of pinky purples for the rest of the page with a little bit of yellows and greens. And so washi tape, Polychromos pencils, Liquitex gold acrylic ink, which I also used in the background here, and added a bunch of a rose glitter gel paint to the top of that. And a little bit of Posca for eye shinies, lip shinies. It's usually my highlighting tool. So that is the Vintage Costume issue with designs by Jasmine Darnell. Just about there. I have the Steampunk Animals Special. This one is another collection of artists issue. I've done The Octopus by Fabiana Churi. So this one again uses alcohol markers to base. It does. There is also some gouache in the background here for behind the octopus. Polychromos pencils to shade, and then Posca to do all the highlighting. Try and make all this metal appear metal. It's not the best metal I've ever done, but I was pretty pleased with it considering how many different types of metal there was. And yeah, it's just the, like, I didn't quite get the pattern right on the shaped areas of the bronze, but like the silver is pretty good. And then there's a little bit of stickles for all the bubbles as well. The Seasons Colouring Heaven collection. This has got designs by Ellie Marks. And I turn straight to it. I have done this page in the winter section. I believe these are cardinals. So I used Distress inks in the background with a bunch of Kaisercraft shimmer sprays and alcohol markers to base. Yep. With polychromos pencils for shading, a little bit of stickles for the flame, and of course Posca to highlight. Yeah, really neat. Lots of little animals and different scenes, and it's all seasonal, so should get in here and do one each season at least. And then the very last issue, Enchanted Animals Special by Kanoko Agusa. Issue number 100. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous issue. And I have done this one here, which is one of my favorites. Absolutely adore this one. This one uses polychromos pencils, no basing, all polychromos pencils, a little bit of Posca for like highlights on shoes and the whiskers and the eyes, and that's it. All polychromos pencils. I do love it when I take the time to do it. It just takes so much time and hurts my hands so badly, so I don't always like to do it. But I do love the result when I do it. And this is no exception. Freaking love this page. Absolutely gorgeous. And so yeah, that is my entire Colouring Heaven collection. There's way too many of them. And that is the last video in my complete collection tour for 2025. If you have made it here and watched all these videos, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed the tour. It's always a blast to do this. It takes so long, but I really enjoy doing it, and I really enjoy reflecting back on the collection and seeing how the collection has changed and developed and grown. And after spending so long in 2024 working unworked books on the shelves and just trying to touch all my books, I'm really looking forward to this year just being able to colour anything and having lots of books that will hopefully have a lot of pages coloured, and maybe even completing some books, which would be really, really lovely. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, for commenting, subscribing, liking, all that stuff. If you've got into the end and you're like, no, I need more, remember these 2023 and 2024's playlists down below, so you can go and see how all the years have changed. All the aroha to you all. Take care. I should frame it here. That's cute. But yes, take care, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!